While you may have never wanted to make a homemade sauna with pee, or cook an entire breakfast, only using sex toys, the creative team of Mark Fishbach and Ethan Nestor have already done so. Respectively known as Markiplier and Crank Gameplays on YouTube, Mark and Ethan created a channel called Unis Honest, where they uploaded new videos to YouTube every day for an entire year. The Verve on March 20th, 2020 explains, the catch is that at the end of the year, none of the videos would be saved or re-uploaded. Unis Honest would be deleted permanently. Through the project, Mark and Ethan try to remind those watching of the finite quality of their existence and prompt the audience to interrogate their relationship with time. Fiction Talk on November 10th, 2020 explains, the channel amassed over 4.5 million subscribers, and CBR on November 20th, 2020 calls the channel a smash success that drew in audiences with its philosophical underpinnings. Ones that force us to question our data's mortality, and by extension, our own. This success forces us to ask the question, how does Unis Honest change our relationship with digital memory? For scholarly help, we'll turn to Victor Mayer Schonberger's 2009 book, Delete, The Virtue of Forgetting in the Digital Age. Mayer Schonberger chronicles the proliferation of storage capacity and the ease to access it. He argues, this emergence prompts a need to theorize digital forgetting, or in other words, technological mimicking of human forgetting. Given that Unis Honest seeks to achieve a true digital forgetting, Mayer Schonberger provides an ideal perspective. So let's explore his model, apply it to Unis Honest, and draw implications. Unis Honest's marked phrase was memento mori, remember death. So let's honor their digital death. The human brain is remarkable. Scientists estimate it can store up to 2.5 petabytes of information. But the internet is even better. Google, Amazon, and Facebook alone store over 1,200 petabytes. This explosion in memory capacity led Mayer Schonberger to theorize digital forgetting with three main tenets: reprioritization of forgetting, limited temporal existence, and altering accessibility. First, the reprioritization of forgetting. Mayer Schonberger explains that up until the invention of cheap data storage, the human default was to forget. But now it's become the exception, which he frames as problematic. He illustrates this through AJ, a woman who has lost her biological ability to forget, which instead of helping her daily life, impedes her ability to make decisions. Mayer Schonberger prioritizes forgetting, not because it's the natural human state, but rather because it gives us the chance to advance. Second, limited temporal existence. Mayer Schonberger advises expiration dates as a way to mimic human forgetting. These expiration dates would be data specific to our digital footprints, such as websites visited or social media posts. He gives the example of Google and Yahoo competing for customer trust by offering increasingly shorter expiration dates on search queries. He states, expiration dates are not about imposed forgetting, but voluntary forgetting with the intent to identify what is truly worthy of being remembered. Finally, altering accessibility. Mayer Schonberger explains that digital memory is not controlled by physical space, but by who has access to it. He gives the example of Stacy Snyder, a teacher who was fired because an old photo resurfaced on the web, which she thought could only be found on her social media. However, the photo could be accessed through multiple other websites. Thus, digital forgetting encompasses not only altering capacity, but also access, which in turn reconceptualizes the ownership of memory. Next, as Mark and Ethan applied hot wax to their bodies in an attempt to immortalize themselves, we'll apply these tenets to Unis Honest. First, Unus Annus reprioritizes forgetting. Grit Daily on December 21st, 2020 explains, the channel dedicated itself to the idea of being forgotten. The channel's description, which is repeated in every video, states that the end is inevitable, inescapable, and irreversible. Mark and Ethan state, the inevitable death of their channel inspired them to create even greater content, because it mattered more. Next, from the very beginning, Unus Annus implemented its own temporal existence. Every video on the channel starts and ends with a ticking clock, denoting the days, hours, minutes, and seconds until its death. The previously cited CBR explains, the channel culminated in a 12-hour-long live stream on November 13th, 2020, during which Mark and Ethan, along with 1.5 million people watching, deleted the channel. Finally, Unus Annus altered its accessibility. Newsweek on December 18th, 2020 explains, the reason the channel was so impactful is because people interacted with it, developing a fan base. Not just on YouTube, but on Reddit, Instagram, and Tumblr, which were all in turn deleted as well. However, because of the fan base, the videos can still be found on websites like archive.org, meaning Unus Annus' mission of achieving a true digital forgetting is unfulfilled. After exploring the model and applying it to Unus Annus, we can return to our research question. How does Unus Annus change our relationship with digital memory? Unus Annus proposes a cultural re-emphasis on forgetting that favors the self-imposed limits on the existence of data. However, this voluntary cultural solution does little to address the tangible incongruences between the limits of human and digital memory, which helps us draw two implications: the consequences of forgetting and the right to be forgotten. First, the consequences of forgetting. Unus Annus' creators were clearly trying to make a philosophical point. Forgetting is fundamentally human. The Scientific American of July 21st, 2020 explains, transhumanist agenda is on the horizon. Augmented memories and extended lifespans are no longer the purview of science fiction. However, the failure of the channel to actually be forgotten suggests an insidious inevitability. Technology is too perfect. Just as the creators attempted to make a choice to be forgotten, a choice to resist the transhumanist future will leave one less able to remember and condemned to a life of inferiority. Unus Annus set out to remind us of what it means to be human. But what it actually did was foreshadow that we don't need to remember to be human. We need to redefine what human is. Finally, the right to be forgotten. CNET on July 14th, 2020 explains, the right to be forgotten, a foundational legal EU ruling, allowed European citizens to request for inaccurate or outdated information that could harm their reputation to be removed from search queries. However, as Hunter Crissione notes in his 2020 article from International Law Commons, the right to be forgotten is largely an impractical legal theory. Data is too widely available, and international legal definitions vary. However, Mayer Schonberger's theory of forgetting ultimately calls for us to culturally, not legally, shift how we think about digital memory. Yet most of the discourse surrounding how we handle data has been legal. And so within the context of our analysis, it's no surprise these legal solutions have failed. Perhaps this is the greatest insight Unus Annus offers. How we handle data will not be settled by the courts, but by the court of public opinion. Today, we took Mayer Schonberger's model, applied it to Unus Annus, and drew implications. While Unus Annus may no longer theoretically exist in our digital memories, we can still take time to reflect on its message. Memento mori. Remember death.